Okay, so let's talk about what I would do if I was paying off debt in 2025. Hey everyone, I hope you're having a really good day. I'm in the car waiting outside of yet another kid's appointment, but I made some notes earlier today and I thought I would share on things that I would do if I was trying to pay off debt this year. But first, if you're new around here, hello, my name is Lydia Senn, and I make videos on frugal and simple living. We're a debt-free family of 6, and I like to talk about how to save time and how to save money because I truly believe that you can do both. We're not going to talk about building an emergency fund or savings in this video, but that is a topic that I will be covering soon. So leave me any questions that you have on that topic below. Now, we paid off our debt over a decade ago. We had $36,000 in credit card debt, student loans, and medical debt, and we were able to pay that off in about 2 years on a pretty low income. But I'm not going to pretend that advice that worked in 2014 is going to work today. Things have changed, things are significantly more expensive, and so we have to play the game a little bit differently. And so if I personally were paying off debt today, there are some things that I did back then that would still work, but this is what I would do. So number one, I would create a debt plan. So everything we do needs to start with a plan. And so what that may be is pulling your credit report, pulling your bank statements, pulling your student loans, pulling all of it, and seeing exactly how much you owe and who you owe it to. And then going from there, and sometimes just facing those numbers, looking at them, seeing in black and white what it is you're dealing with, it can feel overwhelming, but we can't fight what we can't see. And so having it all written out in black and white creates a clear path to take. So write out what you owe, who you owe it to, and what your minimums are. But we're not just going to pay on the minimum. Let me go to step 2, and that is focus on your debt by interest rate, because over time, interest is going to be the thing that kills you. And this is called the avalanche method. You line everything up with the highest interest first, and you make all your minimum payments, but you put any extra amount you have to that highest interest debt. And then when you get that paid off, you go to the next. You take what you were paying plus that extra on that highest, and you apply it to the next one. And then you're going to do the same thing when you get that one paid off. You take that payment plus this payment and you apply it to this one, and you keep going until it is all gone. The next step would be to actually call your creditors and ask for a lower interest rate. I have a template you can use. I will link it or add it to the video description below. But basically you're calling, you're saying, I am a customer in good standing. I don't miss payments. It really only works if you haven't missed payments. Can you offer me a lower interest rate? The worst they can do is say no. Sometimes you just have to keep calling. And then sometimes it means you got to switch to a card with a lower interest rate and maybe do a balance transfer, but that's something that you need to research for yourself. I cannot answer any questions about that. So after we have focused on our plan and focused on our highest interest and paying off those interest rates, and a great tool is to set goals based on your monthly utilization of a card or the highest utilization. And so I'm going to link to a TikTok video that will break this down from the user Ash All About Money. But basically what she says to do and the way she breaks it down is so easy to understand. If you have a credit card debt of like $2,000 and you are up to $1,800 on that, then you have almost maxed it out. And what you have to do is take that percentage of utilization, divide it by the amount of time that you want to pay, and start paying it from there. So you're going to say, I'm going to decrease that utilization rate by 10% every month till it gets down to 0. And again, go watch her video. She breaks it all down. It's really easy. After you watch this one, go check her out. Next thing I would do is to focus on extra income. So yes, we want to cut things out that aren't serving us, that are maybe taking up a lot of extra income. Anything that we can do to shorten the gap between our take-home pay and our outward flow is really gonna be like a raise that we're giving back to ourselves. But sometimes there's nothing left to cut. So instead of really focusing on just cutting everything out, trying to bring in extra income is always a good idea, whether it be taking a weekend job. And I know that's exhausting. Okay, I know it's exhausting, but it's temporary. And maybe it means starting a little side business, doing Uber, doing DoorDash, selling some things on the side. It's all temporary. And that's something that I try to remind myself of when paying off debt, and even now when setting financial goals, is this doesn't last forever, but the debt might. This doesn't last forever, but that need that I'm putting off might. And so it's being uncomfortable for a little while so that we can be comfortable in our futures and feel a little bit more secure. My next tip is to budget by paycheck. So I have a free template to budget by paycheck. To me, this feels less overwhelming than budgeting every month, particularly if you get paid bi-weekly or weekly. We get paid weekly. And just knowing my paycheck is going to go to the following categories. The next week, my paycheck will go to these categories. And I do have some tips below for creating a budget. When I was paying off debt, we really went bare bones. We did not go anywhere. We did not travel. We hardly went out to eat. I think we went to see 2 movies the entire time we were paying off debt, and they were Wreck-It Ralph and The Hunger Games. And there was not a lot that we did, and that was on purpose. We also had 2 babies during that time frame, so I wasn't going to go anywhere anyway. If I were paying debt off now, I would give myself a little bit more wiggle room, a little bit more leeway, a little bit more freedom to live my life. But I also know how motivated I was. And a lot of my motivation was fear. I didn't want to be in debt forever, and I didn't want to feel beholden to a credit card company or Sally Mae for the rest of my life. And so it really comes down to finding what motivates you, and there are no wrong answers to that. Often we get into debt out of necessity. You didn't get into debt because you're stupid or because you're lazy. You often got into debt because of life circumstances. You're not dumb. You didn't know, or you were doing the best you could with the time frame that you were given. So please do not be hard on yourself. Yeah, I would love to know, are you paying off debt this year? What are some of your tips? Leave me a comment below and tell me. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon.